Hi, my name is Ashley Garcia-Everett. I am a clinical nephrologist at UT Health in San Antonio. And I'm also the mother of a son, CJ, with autosomal recessive polycystic kidney disease, who is a 3 years post kidney transplant. When he was born, he had a lot of breathing problems. He was actually put on the ventilator pretty quickly after birth. And so the first even just minutes, hours were really stressful and difficult. And he was actually on dialysis by 4 days old. But it was a roller coaster. He was up and down, one thing different from the next day, do better for a little while, and then, 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. And when he was around, I think 3 to 4 months old, he'd been back off the ventilator for a couple of weeks, and we actually thought we might be going home around Christmas time. But then he had another episode where he decompensated and back on the ventilator and really, really, really not doing well. And it was then we had kind of discussed with all of our teams about should we take his kidneys out? Because at that point they were just massive for a 3-month-old baby. Once he had his first kidney out, it turns out, we thought that his kidneys were maybe 12 centimeters or 13 centimeters, which are bigger than adult kidneys. We thought they were that big. It turned out they were 15 centimeters. And so even bigger than we could measure. They were just massive. And, he was only probably 7 pounds at this point. So they took out that first kidney, and he was on the ventilator, but it did better with the one kidney, and tried to see could we get by with the one remaining. And then it became pretty clear pretty quickly that we weren't going to be able to do that. He just was so unstable that he was desaturating, and it was a really, really scary time. But fortunately, he made it to the second kidney surgery, and they took out that second kidney. And again, his settings on his ventilator got a lot better. And 2 days later, I think, is when it looked like uh, that they thought that they might be able to take him off the breathing machine, and they did. And then he just never looked back from that standpoint. His breathing got better. And so the goal at that point was he needed to get to 10 kilos and 1 year before we could consider transplant. He had to be big enough to accept a kidney. And the idea being that probably, living kidney donors are the best kidneys, and getting him onto the list, the hope and the plan was that I would likely donate to him. We knew I was the same blood type, but of course had to go under all the tests. If I had known then what I know now, like, I would have had zero hesitations. And I say that I had some moments, it was like 99.99%, like, where I'm totally 100% for this. But of course, I think everybody has their moments. Um, and now it's like 110%, like it was the best thing that I ever did. He was able to proceed to surgery. And so, and he did really well afterwards. It took a few days for him to, after the surgery, but once he was really feeling better, I mean, when we got home, he started doing things that he had never done before. His mobility and his strength improved tremendously. And by his second birthday, he was walking. If you see him, he's 4.5 now. If you see him now, you wouldn't know that he's really much different from other kids. And he's just, to see him develop his personality and who he is as a little person has been amazing too. There's a community that's larger than even just our family that, he's had a big impact on. And I think a lot of people go through life and don't know if they've had an impact or what their purpose is in life. And for him, I think that's really special that he is so young and he's had an impact on a lot of people already. I would say for anybody who's considering donation, the biggest things I would say is to accept the support that other people want to give you through that time. And then really make sure that, you're taking care of yourself through the whole process, because, your loved one, yes, they need your kidney, but they need you too. As a clinical kidney doctor, I knew about transplant and these things, and having gone through the process and being on both sides of it at this point, and like multi-dimensional, like being the donor, being the parent of a child with a transplant, um, it really has changed the way I approach how we address transplant. And so I hope that more people are aware. Like, I think education and the advocacy for it is just that a lot of people don't know. They assume that children receive donors from children, but they don't. They generally receive donors or kidneys from adults, and that living kidney donation, as opposed to having somebody pass and donate organs. That living kidney donation is so important for them. For pediatrics in particular, you know, there the dialysis just doesn't provide the same, like, no matter what we do, it doesn't provide the same opportunity for growth and development. And so for pediatrics, it is just incredibly life-changing for them. So if you're healthy enough and you're called to it, I would encourage you to just ask your center. And if you don't know anybody, or if you do know somebody who needs a kidney, ask if you can be evaluated.